Hello, I'm Sangeeta Waldron and I'm an author. And I've had the privilege of interviewing Ingmar Rentzhog, co-founder of this great platform, We Don't Have Time. And why did I interview Ingmar? Well, I'm writing my third book, a pro-planet book, to be published in 2024. And the title of the book is What Will Your Legacy Be? Conversations with Global Changemakers about the climate crisis. And you're about to see some of that interview, which was exhilarating, thought-provoking, and actually fun. And I can't wait to write up that interview for my book. But for now, we thought we'll share some of that with you. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to ask, my first question is, what inspired you to set up We Don't Have Time? And what's the mission of the platform?
So what inspired me was actually two things. First off, it was when I got my first child, my daughter. I started to think about the future in a longer time horizon. And that's where I kind of started to get the interest of the nature, planet, and Earth, and the climate. So I started to read more and more about it. But I didn't really do anything more than just educating myself. I was running a quite successful financial communication consulting firm. So I was helping rich people become richer, more or less. We did a lot of good things, like helping companies with renewable energies to fundraise and stuff like that. But it was not focused on doing good things. It was focused on, grow the business. But what really inspired me to go from worried to action was actually Donald Trump. When he won the US election, it was a very special, it was not just that he won the US election. It was actually a very special day for me. And I think it was many things coming together. I think it was in November, and I'm living in Stockholm. And it was this crazy weather. So the whole city was shut down because it had came like 1.5 meters snow in 24 hours. And that's not common at all. So all the buses and everything just shut down. So it was kind of silent, the whole city. And I was home with my daughter that was stomach sick. So it was kind of, I couldn't work. I was kind of out from the, stressful day to day. The whole city was kind of shut down. And when I woke up that morning, Donald Trump was all over the television, saying that very glad and holding those signs like dig more coal and stuff like that. And it just hit me very hard, because I realized that Donald Trump was actually the first leader telling the truth. He told everyone that he didn't care about the future or anything. And other leaders, they were pretending they were doing things, but were not really doing it. But when he was standing there as the new president telling that I don't give a shit, that made me realize that I wanted to do something. And I wanted to use my skill in communication and building networks to try to gather those people that actually are doing things, leading. And that's where I came up with We Don't Have Time. The idea behind We Don't Have Time, to build a network connecting everyone acting for change, to show another leadership, because we can't really rely on the top leadership we have today.
Absolutely. How old is your daughter now?
11.
11. So you've been on this journey sort of for the last 11 years.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just, I think it was like 6 years. Donald Trump won the election, or 7 years.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, but you started your learning, your
yeah,
reading. So no,
yeah,
that's really, it's been a journey.
yeah.
Uh,
It has. And
I,
when I mean, the first thing after that day with Donald Trump, I wanted to learn much more about the climate, not just read. And so I signed up on everything, all the web pages that was related with climate. So I just signed up to the newsletter, etc. And 1 month later, I got an invitation from Al Gore to go his training. So that
wow.
was the last time I was in US was actually to be trained by him. And I got a lot of learnings from attending that training.
I have to ask you, sorry. So if anyone signs up to lots of things, do you think they'll have that? They'll get that invitation from Al
I
Gore?
never heard anyone else that had that experience. So it's so I don't know. It's kind of
It's like your destiny.
yeah, yeah. I remember I was sitting on the bus and I just popped up this invitation, and I applied immediately.
Wow. I mean, huge kudos to you. And he obviously something, I mean, because you're making an impact.
I'm trying.
Well, you are. I mean, because I joined your platform from the beginning, and I thought, wow, this is so cool. This is just so cool. There's nothing like this out there. So obviously, there's something that just, I don't know, somehow your paths kind of collided in this internet ether.
Yeah.
It's incredible. That's just that in itself is an incredible story.
Yeah, now it's very strange because I never heard anyone else got an invitation to go do his training. It's always like people need to apply to it, but so I don't know. It was just the star was in line or something, because I think that was very important because I was no expert in climate. But with his network and knowledge, I came home and suddenly I had something to say. So I actually did the very first presentation, Al Gore presentation. I think it was 2 days after I came home from that training. And I even did a really thing that was one of the hardest lecture I ever done. I did it with my daughter's daycare, like for a group of 5 and 6 years old. And that was a challenge.
I love that. What did they say?
I mean, it was crazy because I kind of was talking for 1.5 hours, and that's a lot. And it was these kids like, we need to go to toilet. Please pause. Please pause. But I don't know. Afterwards, the oldest girl in that daycare, she started to cry. So I was a little bit worried about the parents, But it was a different experience.
And then, is that from Al Gore to your presentation at the daycare? Then it got you to setting up We Don't Have Time.
Yeah. So basically, what happened regarding this idea to create We Don't Have Time? I mean, it was not super clear. It was more like a vision. I want to use my skills in communication and network, and I want to build this platform. But it was actually the reason why it happened, why I did go from an idea to execution, was that I had this dinner with my now co-founder 3 days later. And we were sitting at a very fancy restaurant eating raw beef. And I was talking about this idea, and I thought he was saying like, you're crazy, but he actually, let's do it. And he's here with me now. His name is David Olson, and without him, I don't think I will be standing here.
Because I listening to your story. I mean, I remember watching the film just before We Don't Have Time started, which is Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Were you inspired by that at all? Was that part of this story, or completely coincidence?
The Don't Look Up movie.
Yeah, the film.
Yeah, it was it's a great film. It's spot on, absolutely.
Because your platform kind of came out soon after that. I was thinking in my mind. Or
No, Don't Look Up was much later.
much later.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I mean, we probably inspired them, but we
I
were
love that.
launched much before.
And then what's the mission of the platform?
I mean, the mission is really we can't make oil lose because they're too powerful. So what we are trying to do is to make the other side win. So by scaling, by helping everyone that are implementing solutions, and also inspire people about those solutions, we see that we can catalyze change, and by that we will have the other side lose. But we're not focusing on having oil lose, we're focusing on having the green win. And the methodology we have for it is very much two things. Get people together, have them to meet. Things that are happening in Sweden, like something that are local. Can we get people in Australia to do the same, etc.? And the other thing, our other secret source, is that we must have those conversations with people that knows what's going on, that are working with solution. We need to have them to get out there, out from the bubble, because otherwise it's just the same people talking about the same problem with each other, and that will not change anything. So when we do our meetings, we always broadcast them to everyone for free. And that's something that not many others are doing, at least didn't do when we started doing it. So our mission is to get the leaders to meet, learn from each other, get inspired with each other. And what's happening here, we need to get that out to millions.
Just before I get to the next question, I just wanted to ask you this. As you were talking, it occurred to me, why hasn't any other tech entrepreneur like Zuckerberg or now Elon Musk thought about creating something like this?
Because they are caught up in making profits and do what they do. And I'm asking that question myself many times, but I think it's really strange. But many people, money is like controlling us. We are slaves. And you could think of, I mean, when you don't have money, or you have very little money. I mean, many people don't have money at all. For them, having money is freedom. But the absurdity is that when you get an absurd amount of money, it's not freedom anymore. It's the other way around. It's kind of money will control you. And you will do a lot of things that is not freedom at all. You will move to a country just because to pay low tax, but you don't like to stay there. You need to have security, so you can't be normal. And you suddenly are caught up with competing with other super rich, building rockets just to prove something strange. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. It's kind of philosophical, but my theory is that if you have too much money, you're becoming a slave of the money instead of losing the freedom.
That's a really interesting answer. And it's an answer I think that would resonate with lots of people, because what you said is actually makes sense. I've never heard anyone say that before. You always think with money you have freedom.
Yeah.
But money actually enslaves you because you have more. You're sort
of afraid of losing it, so you want to protect it and have more. And the more money you have, the more you're caught up in the system. And the system is what is wrong. So we need to break free from this system.
So that leads me to my next question.
And I mean, of course, there are a lot of people doing good things, but those like that could really change things.
Yeah.
It's frustrating that they don't do it.
Have they ever reached out to you, said, could we connect or collaborate?
Actually, we have a very good relationship with Twitter. That was before Elon Musk bought it, but we have it today as well. But I mean, I'm not in contact with the head person. So no, I mean, no. I mean, that would be a dream. Someone reaching out with a resource and say, "How can I help?" But
not yet. Not yet.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it will never happen, actually, because those people that are caught in the system, when they are wanting to help, they want to have their names on everything. They want it to be their initiative. I mean, like Bill Gates is doing a lot of good things, but it's very much Bill Gates Foundation. It's his way. It's not like, here's the money. I don't even need to have the name on it.
Yeah.
And I don't saying that Bill Gates are doing.
No, I get what you're saying.
Bad things necessarily, but it's the ego somehow.
It is the ego. You're absolutely right. As I'm interviewing different people for this book, everyone is from the pro-planet side, but everyone is dealing with the same challenges in different ways.
Yeah.
Money, power, lobby groups.
And I will say that, unfortunately, it's much more severe than just lobbying group.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go against the big power structure, the resistance will be. I mean, if you do it without having people backing you up, you will not survive. Basically, literally.
That's why you need a co-founder. You need strength.
Yeah, you need strength, but you also need. I mean, what happened to us was that we were very naive in the beginning, like super naive, because when you're an entrepreneur, doing things, building like a business consulting firm that I was running before, people are kind of applauding you. Oh, you're a good entrepreneur, creating a lot of jobs, etc. So when I was starting within a time, I thought that if I build a company doing something good for the planet and being successful, people will applaud me even more. but when you try to disrupt the way the world actually operates, you will not be met by applause. You will be met by a powerful force. So I experienced so much strange things in the beginning when I built within a time. I mean, constantly worrying about who is tapping into your phone and reading your mails and listening to everything you do, and also threats and stuff like that. It's a really strange world we live in. So what I learned from this was that instead of going head to head against those powers, let's help those that are working on the solutions instead, because those that have the real power in the world, controlling those lobbies, etc., they are too powerful to go up head to head. So you will not do anything. You will not make it if you do it.
No, you'll probably just destroy yourself.
Yeah.
So just on that, do you think globally people are starting to care about the climate and their own impact on the climate? Or is it just the citizens who are being impacted by the devastation of climate change who care?
I think many people today are really worried.
Yeah.
But people, I mean, we need leadership. So in the beginning, in my own climate journey, I thought that everyone will do like I do if they just understand the problem. But I don't think that anymore, because most people, they are programmed to follow, not lead. And if you think of it, our society will not work if everyone want to become leader. It will just be chaos. So it's built in how humans actually operate. the problem here is that we have the wrong leaders. And I mean, we have seen throughout history sometimes when the leaders are going really off the rail, you have people, new leadership mobilizing people. And I mean, you could see like the French Revolution as one of those occasions. But that always leads to a lot of hate and chaos, and you don't know where that kind of situation will end up. So we really need to do that. We need to do a peaceful revolution and show other kind of leadership. And I believe by putting the spotlights on those doing good things, I think that could be those leadership that everyone that are following looking for. We need to really promote a different leadership. And I don't think the guillotine is the answer. I think by promoting the good guys is the answer for that.
And just on the...
But we haven't, I mean, that hasn't really happened on scale yet. So we have much to do here. And we need help.
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, we need help. So, I mean, everyone that thinks that they are small, can't do any change in the world, I mean, they have the power if they want to have the power. I mean, imagine Greta Thunberg. It's an impossible story, right? Not everyone can become her, but everyone can start change in their small world.
So that's actually, I was going to ask you another question, but we'll keep on with this because my next question is, how can ordinary people make a difference? So one person can make change. Do you believe that?
Absolutely. It's the only way. I mean, I think the most important thing is to be uncomfortable. Try to say something instead of being quiet, and speak up. And also try to be positive. So instead of saying, why are you flying to on your vacation, you could, when a colleague are saying, I took the train, you raise your voice and say, that was awesome, amazing that you did that. Because that's easier, and it's you don't have those negative feelings that get people uncomfortable. And I think we need that, but we need to balance that with a positive power. So what I would like to see is a climate movement embracing positive feelings. And today it has come to, like, if you're focusing on climate civil movements, it's very much negative feelings, and that is making people not want to join because they have negative feelings. People are really worried about climate, and when someone says that join me and become more negative, they can, no, I don't want more of that feeling. So we need to try using the positive power to mobilize people, I will say.
That's very profound.
But in order to really make things happening, we need leadership for sure, but we also need people power. I'm now in my head kind of trying to see if we can find a way to kind of ignite a positive movement out there, because I think that is what the climate movement are missing.
Yes.
And with that said, I think we have this. I mean, we haven't been. That wouldn't work if we will have started with a positive, but now the negative have kind of. Everyone are aware of the crisis now. So now, when they are aware, we need to mobilize how to solve that crisis in a positive way, and not in a naive way, but in a positive way.
So, how do you deal with the climate deniers?
I don't care about those.
You don't care.
I mean, there's not a debate about believing in climate or not. It's a debate about doing or not acting. And the climate deniers are not important because either they are just, I mean, fooled by those that want people to deny things, or they have interest themselves in it, or they're just a bot factory that doesn't even exist. So that's long gone. That debate is over, I will say. Even in countries like Australia and the US, I will say it's not relevant anymore. But what is relevant, though, is that people are doing the wrong things. That's much more frustrating. People that knows and don't deny climate. We could take, you're from UK, right?
Yes.
I mean, we have your crazy political thing going on in your country. When you suddenly, after this, I mean, this extreme weather this summer, we had actually July, we had over 1.5 degrees global warming. So we are already past that for July. So what we're experiencing now, that's the best case of the climate crisis. And it's crazy. So you can't deny it anymore. So what are UK doing? I saw this, your energy minister, I don't have his name. I saw his tweet, and it was like, we're going against Just Stop Oil and the left politicians by opening 100 new oil licenses.
Oil rigs, yes.
And we're going to do it to be more secure and achieve net zero 2050. That's not denial, that's delusional. That's the dangerous thing. So denialism is not there anymore. It's the people that knows what they're doing, they don't care, and they just want to have the power and the money while the world is going in the wrong direction. And they think maybe they're denying it because they think they will make it themselves. Because they think they will not personally will be affected. But that's another form of denial, of self-denial. I
think
that's what we're up against.
Yes, that is what
but I also think that's the final battle, because what we see now is that those that are representing this old power structure, they know that they're going to lose. They're totally aware of it. So what they try to do is to grab on and get all the power and money before they know that their time are ending. They just try to prolong it. They know that they will lose in the end.
So I have to ask you this question before I get to the last question.
Yeah.
I have to ask you this. Is there any leader in the world right now who inspires you? Any political leader in any region, any country, any community right now that inspires you?
I will say Al Gore, but he's not an active politician anymore, unfortunately. But what he has done for the climate movement is, it's incredible. Yeah. But if you see to the political leadership, it's hard to name someone. I love what the UN General Secretary are saying. Yes. But it's hard for me to look up to someone that is powerless. It will be it would be awful if it will be another leader at the top of UN, but it's somewhere absurd where you have a UN General Secretary saying everything that needs to be done, that we need to stop collaborate with oil, we need to phase out fossil fuel, etc. And his very own organization are hosting a climate meeting in Dubai with the CEO of a big oil company doing wrong things as the chair. It's, he has, the problem here is that he don't have the power. And it's the same thing with the US president. He's doing a lot of good things for the climate, but he's actually, the Biden administration has approved more drilling for oil, coal, gas first 2 years compared to Trump first 2 years. Why? Is he kind of on the wrong side? No, he's not on the wrong side. He doesn't have enough power to fight oil, but he do have enough power to help the good guys. And that's what he's doing with the US Inflation Act by giving $1 trillion to the good side, but we're still giving $2 trillion to fossil fuel subsidies. So we have a lot more to do. So I mean, I think Joe Biden is doing a lot of great things, but it's hard to have a role model in the political leadership today.
No,
but that's not because they are not really the ones in control.
Yeah. So what legacy, or sorry, what do you want your legacy to be?
I mean, that we are going to make it. To contribute to a society where we have the climate crisis under control. And I'm not doing this to be remembered or anything. I'm doing this because I want to have a future myself.
Yeah. Do you think that's still possible to have a future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, I will do something else. But I mean, you have your doubts, of course. But I mean, let's look at throughout history, we have been in very dark times, many, many times. And just go to your country without having a great leader during World War II, saying that we can make it. We wouldn't have made it. We would have been like the Third Reich here in Europe. But we aren't. So, I mean, we can turn things around and the good side will win. It's just a matter of how many losses we're willing to take with us before.
Well, that's very profound. I mean, you, as you've been talking, so many thoughts have flown. I could talk to you all day. I mean, you're amazing and I applaud you because it's not easy. I've been working in this field for the last 30 odd years. I've had the privilege to meet different climate champions along the way. And I don't know if you know Vandana Shiva.
Yeah.
So she taught, when you were talking about when you started, you experienced all, like phone tapping, you were worried about. Vandana says the same thing. And she's talked about how Monsanto used to follow her. And
I mean, yeah.
So, and it just shows these tactics haven't changed.
No.
They're all things like a 1940s.
And I mean, this is crazy. She was 16 years maybe when that happened. Yeah. So you have a 16-year-old threatening one of the world's largest chemical companies.
Kind of like
that shows hope. That shows hope.
Yeah.
If a 16-year-old telling the truth or getting that resistance, imagine what will happen when we mobilize enough people to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
There's nothing as dangerous as the truth if you are believing in the lie.
Wow. Are you going to ever stand for politics?
I mean, I don't think so because they are powerless. I mean, I think we need a lot of good people in politics. In conservative parties, in left parties, we need good people. It's not about the side.
No.
But I see that I can do more outside politics because current political system don't have enough power to fight it. I mean, if you even not the US president can fight the power structure, I don't think I can do it in a small country like Sweden.
Yeah.
But we need good people in politics. But what we really need is to mobilize enough people in society. So that's what I think I can contribute to. And I really do believe that we need love, not hate, to fix this.
I completely agree with you. Absolutely. As you're talking again, there are just so many things. I don't know if you are aware of Julian Lennon's work.
No.
The White Feather Foundation.
No, not heard of, no.
And I'll send it to you. You'll find it really interesting. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to interview Julian because his work encompasses everything you're trying to do as well. And how he's done it. And these are one of the questions I want to ask him. You know, you were talking about the positive messages. He has somehow done that using different mediums. So the camera, photography, film, art, to show a positive. And they've been very successful in how they've done it and the money they've raised for their work. I'll send you that. You can have a look. But
yeah, please do.
You're absolutely right. It is about this positive message. We're kind of in this climate crisis fatigue. A lot of people.
Yeah.
How do we change that conversation? And I'm hoping this book will help do that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to read it. And I would like to check out your first book as well.
Well, let me send you a copy.
Yeah,
I will love to send it. It would be my pleasure to be able to do that.